My infant, my arms usually long for you, however nowadays I am calling you here for any other cause. There's an emergency state of affairs about to happen close by the region you're residing, and you want to be careful. Sure, my baby, you need to be careful regarding the shifts inside the surroundings, the diffused tremors within the earth, the silence before the wind modifications its course. There are signs and symptoms, each seen and hidden, that talk of what's coming, but many do now not see, many do now not listen. Yet I have selected you and I have known as you not simplest to shield you, however which you might additionally warn others. My voice does not are available in thunder on my own, frequently I whisper into the private corners of your soul. This is one of those times. The urgency isn't always meant to frighten you, but to evoke you. My baby, wake up, open the eyes of your spirit. This isn't the time to sleep spiritually or emotionally. The chance draws near not just in physical shape, but additionally within the unseen battles that rage in the spirit. There are forces transferring a few through men, others through spirits which are operating to stir confusion, panic and destruction. Do not be swept away in the tide of fear, nor follow the crowd once they scatter without understanding. Concentrate alternatively to the quiet leading I've placed inside you. I'm talking through the unease you feel at night time, through the restlessness that stirs while the arena seems silent. This is my spirit quickening your heart. My infant, there is a shaking coming, not most effective of the earth however of structures, of strongholds of foundations that guys have relied on for generations. The comfort and habitual many have come to depend on will be disrupted not because I favored a harm, however due to the fact the hearts of many have grown hard, proud and self-reliant. They have got constructed towers in their personal call and stuffed their cities with idols that wear many disguises. My mercy remains stretched out, but judgment is drawing near, not to damage without purpose, however to correct with righteousness. Do now not be alarmed while you see the symptoms. The hearth will not devour you in case you are hidden in me. The wind will not uproot you in case your roots are deep in my phrase, but I beg you currently to act. The not in worry but in faith, keep not handiest food and water for the body, but extra urgently shop know-how, prayer and discernment for the soul. Discover yourself to my fact. Wrap yourself in humility. Forgive folks who wounded you and lay down every grudge. For these things weigh the spirit and avoid the readability you may need in the coming days. There might be a stirring in the skies. Some will call it nature. Others will call it accident. However you, my infant, will know it's far the moving of my hand. The clouds will acquire with cause. Mind will fall where it has long been dry, and drought will grip in which waters once flowed freely. Do now not interpret these items with carnal eyes. Take delivery of me, and I'm able to monitor the hidden meanings. I have no longer left you unaware. Don't forget the desires I placed within you. Take into account the visions you disregarded. Revisit the scriptures that burned to your coronary heart at instances while you did not understand why. They had been not random. They have been seeds for this very hour. You aren't helpless, and also you aren't on my own. I've stationed my angels round you even now. Some have stood at your facet since the hour of your birth. Others I have launched lately, for the challenge ahead calls for extra reinforcement. There is a cry growing from the land. The earth groans, the animals pass in patterns unfamiliar, and the birds exchange their flight. These aren't trivial matters. All creation is responding to the transferring inside the heavens. My throne is unshaken, however my presence is moving in ways the world has now not seen in generations. My spirit is brooding over the earth over again, and I'm calling forth sons and daughters now not simply believers, however carriers of my glory, voices of my truth, the hearts that beat with my compassion. You my child are one in all them. That is why the enemy has tried so relentlessly to deter you. That is why you've got walked through seasons of silence and put off. It become in no way abandonment. It changed into coaching. You wondered why doorways closed, why prayers seemed unanswered, but it become all to defend you from untimely publicity. I was not withholding from you. I was protective what I used to be building in you. You aren't past due, you are right on time. Now listen me honestly, stay close. Do no longer wander looking for lesser comforts. Do not drink from wells that do not satisfy. You may want readability within the days beforehand, and that readability comes simplest from abiding in me. Permit my word be your compass, not the information. Let my peace be your shield, no longer the opinions of many. Human beings will panic, leaders will falter, systems will shake, but you remain nevertheless in me. There may be a separation. A line is being drawn not by means of Guy but with the aid of heaven. People who actually understand me will be distinguishable now not through speech, however by using fruit. Love will not be a slogan, but a way of life tested in fire. Persistence, peace, gentleness, those will shine brighter in chaos. The counterfeit could be exposed. The shallow will be emptied. However you, my infant, press deeper. Walk in reality, even if it is unpopular. Stand firm, even if mocked. Love boldly, even when rejected. I'm calling you furthermore MGHT to intercede for your family, to your town, for folks that are blind and unaware. Your prayers are not whispers in the darkish. They are thunder in the heavens. And whilst you feel nothing, understand that every word spoken in faith before me builds a wall, opens a route, births a miracle. Pray without ceasing, no longer from obligation, however from intimacy. I choice no longer simply your voice, however your heart. Do now not underestimate what I can do via a yielded vessel. The sector looks for strength in numbers, I look for strength in give up. You surrendered, are greater risky to darkness than legions without me. Do no longer pull away. I'm with you. while you step into rooms, atmospheres will shift not due to who you are by myself, but because of who is in you. A time will come, even soon, when many will searching for answers. They will no longer be glad with shallow platitudes or indistinct ideals. They'll hunger for the real, the everlasting. And while they come, I need them to discover me and also you. Permit your life be an altar. Let your words be dwelling water. Allow your moves hold forth louder than your sermons. The hour is overdue, however there's nonetheless time. Time for souls to return. Time for hearts to rouse. I'm for my children to rise, however be generous in spirit. Provide greater than you withhold. Communicate with grace, but do not dilute the fact. Shine with love, however do not compromise. This balance of grace and fact, love and righteousness can simplest be walked by folks that abide in me. So abide, my infant. Allow your roots grow deep. Allow your spirits stay tender. Permit my presence be your everyday bread. In the days beforehand, there can be bizarre signs, technological screw-ups, governmental tremors, social unrest. All this stuff are signs and symptoms of deeper religious dislocation, but you aren't called to react in worry. You're called to reply in faith. Anywhere I location your feet, communicate peace. Anywhere I ship you, convey light. You're my ambassador. You are my vessel. Keep in mind what I spoke to you lengthy ago within the quiet moments you notion had been forgotten. I keep in mind. Every tear you cried I collected. Each silent prayer I recorded. Not anything has been wasted. The ache you persisted has produced toil. The ready has produced depth. The breaking has made room for extra filling. My toddler listened closely. For this phrase I talk to you now could be sacred. It isn't born of emotion or impulse, however of everlasting reality that flows from my coronary heart, fact unmoved by means of time, undiminished by human mind, there and untouched by the moving winds of this international. What I say to you I say with all of the weight of my love, all the purity of my know-how and all the energy of my justice. Do not ignore my warnings. Once I ship a phrase of warning, it isn't to burden you, to bind you, or to remove your freedom. It is because I see what you cannot. I recognize what lies beyond the hill you are mountaineering. I listen the whispers that your ears can't discover, and that I feel the tremors of storms forming in nation-states unseen. My warnings are not cries of control, they are songs of love, sounding alarms from the watchtower of eternity. They are the voice of a father who loves so deeply that he might rather shake your international than watch you be misplaced to it. To disregard my warning is to stroll willingly into a place wherein mercy must step aside and consequence takes its rightful area. My child, do you not recognize that I warn because I preference to guard you? I warning because I long to keep what I've planted in you. even the smallest whisper of correction from my spirit incorporates within a depth of mercy far greater than you may realize. Each time I communicate, even when it is to correct or to warning, it smiles a gift and invitation to align yourself with life, with protection, with peace. Do now not allow your coronary heart to grow stupid. In a world that rushes with noise and distraction, my voice is often nevertheless and small, but it contains the low devotions inside the fire of the celebrities. Once I stir your spirit, after I tug at your sense of right and wrong, when I speak through the unease on your heart, or the repeated signs and symptoms before your eyes it is I attaining out, will you switch away from me, or will you lean in? There were many my toddler who have become a deaf ear to me. Their memories are written in my phrase now, not to shame, however, to alert you, to manual you, to remind you that selections deliver consequence, and that heedlessness bears a sour harvest. Keep in mind the tale of Lot's wife. I dispatched messengers to deliver Lot and his circle of relatives from the destruction I had declared over Sodom and Gomorrah. My caution came with urgency, with clarity, with compassion. I did now not conceal what was coming. I sent angels. I gave them coaching. I even delayed the judgment until they were led away to protection. Yet nonetheless, although the command became clear, although my love was glaring, Lot's spouse grew to become again. I had stated, do no longer look lower back. That changed into no longer a proposal. That was a lifeline. A line drawn among existence and dying, however her heart remained tethered to the metropolis of sin. She longed for what I had known as her out of, and in her hesitation, in her disobedience, in her disregard of my caution, she turned and have become a pillar of salt and memorial, no longer simply of my justice, however of the way fatal the unmarried moment of disobedience may be. I do not warn without purpose, and I do now not trouble instructions to prove my authority. My child, I am no longer like men who demand loyalty to fulfill pleasure. I am holy, yes, but I'm love, and even my holiness is saturated in mercy. Once I say, do now not appearance returned, it is due to the fact searching lower back invitations the destruction you had been stored from. Once I say flee, it is due to the fact risk is real, and time is short. Any other tale I want you to keep in mind is that of King Zedekiah, the very last king of Judah. I sent my prophet Jeremiah to him again and again pleading, caution, revealing the fact of what became to come. I did no longer desire Judah's destroy. I warned through dreams, visions, and the unwavering voice of my servant. I informed Zedekiah that if he surrendered to the Babylonians, his existence would be spared. The metropolis could not be burned, and his humans might survive. However, he refused. He feared men more than me. He listened to advisers filled with delight instead of to the voice of the Almighty. And ultimately everything I stated came to pass. Jerusalem became besieged. The temple became destroyed. His sons were killed before his very eyes, after which his eyes were taken from him. He changed into overexcited in chains, broken and humiliated, living out the remainder of his lifestyles in sorrow. Did I not warn him? Did I now not provide him a chance to pick out otherwise? My warnings aren't threats, they are opportunities. They're doors to escape judgment, to step into my safety, to stroll the better street. But many near their ears, due to the fact the manner of obedience regularly feels difficult inside the moment. What they do now not recognize is that the weight of disobedience is far extra and lasts plenty longer. You, my baby, are dwelling in days wherein my warnings abound. They arrive via scripture, through prophecy, through my spirit stirring your internal being. From time to time they come via strangers, through dreams, via situations that nudge you to appearance again, to pause, to reconsider. Do not grow so accustomed to my grace that you take it without any consideration. Do now not come to be so acquainted with my kindness that you expect results will now not come. Yes, I am gradual to anger and abounding in love. Yes, I delay judgment in wish that hearts will go back to me. However, I'm able to now not be mocked, and I cannot withhold justice while it smiles due. If I did, I would not be holy. I might no longer be righteous. My postpone isn't denial, it smiles mercy, providing you with area to turn, to melt, to realign. My child, understand this, ignoring my warning isn't always simply disobedience, it is religious blindness. It's far to consider to your own information above the know-how of the eternal. It smiles to say, I recognize better, even whilst you do now not see what lies ahead. And that satisfaction continually precedes a fall. There are numerous who once walked with me, however chose their very own course while correction got here. Their lives inform the tale of what occurs when the voice of God is neglected. Some lost their purpose. Others lost their peace. Some misplaced relationships. Others lost their very lives. No longer because I abandoned them, but because they walked out from beneath the masking I supplied. It isn't always enough to know my voice, you have to obey it. It is not sufficient to apprehend my main, you must reply to it. Even partial obedience is disobedience in my sight. Even Saul spared what I informed him to break, although he claimed it was for sacrifice. I noticed his heart. I stated to him via my prophet Samuel, to obey his better than sacrifice, and to heed his better than the fat of rams. My phrases are not open for modification. They're holy. My infant, after I warn its far regularly before the hazard seems actual. I talk in advance of the storm, now not inside the center of it. That is why so many disregard my voice. They are saying nothing is incorrect. Nothing has happened. The whole thing is ordinary. However, they do now not see the clouds forming past the horizon. They do no longer realize the weight their soul will convey once the typhoon breaks. I warned Noah of rain whilst the skies had been still blue. I advised him to build an ark while people laughed, whilst society thrived. when no person had ever seen a drop from the heavens. However, because Noah listened, because he obeyed, he and his circle of relatives have been stored. My caution isn't always constantly within the face of danger, it's miles inside the lull earlier than it. This is when the smart pay attention. This is when the devoted prepare. So what shall you do, my baby, after I speak? Do no longer put off. Postpone is the seed of rise up. Do now not debate. Debate is the entrance to doubt. As a substitute, yield quickly. Believe completely. Pass once I say move. Speak when I say forestall. Even in case you don't apprehend, obey, information will come later. However, obedience need to come now. To heed my caution is to honor my sovereignty. It is to mention, Lord, I accept as true with you spot what I cannot. I consider which you realize what I do not. It is to region me returned at the throne of your existence, to submit your mind to my everlasting expertise. That posture, my toddler, is one in every of protection, one in all joy, one of peace. I do not satisfaction in the downfall of anyone. I take no satisfaction in judgment. This is why I warn. That is why I ship voices in advance. That is why I knock again and again, at the doorways of hearts hardened through pleasure or ache. I do no longer give up without difficulty. My love is relentless. However, my justice is actual. And whilst it comes hastily. You have got felt me speak earlier than. You've got sensed the pull to show, to shift, to stroll away from sure choices or relationships. On occasion you listened. And peace followed. Other times you hesitated. You reasoned, you not on time, you compromised, and also you tasted the bitterness of regret. That become not me punishing you, that turned into the fruit of selections made out of doors of my will. I allowed it, no longer to spoil you, however to train you, but convey you again to me. Now yet again I'm warning you. No longer most effective approximately matters to return, however approximately the posture of your coronary heart. Live soft. Live alert. Maintain your ears tuned to my spirit. For even in the days ahead there might be extra warnings, a few mild, others pressing. I may call you to depart a place, to end an association, to release a pursuit, to speak a reality, to be nonetheless. These commands will not usually make feel inside the moment, but they will protect you. My warnings aren't about worry, they may be about guidance. Noah organized, Joseph organized, Esther organized. They were no longer caught unaware. They walked in know-how, and that they fulfilled their purpose. So too shall you, in case you concentrate and respond when I speak. Do no longer comply with the gang. They frequently stroll blindly. Oh me, even though the course is slim. Even though it charges you comfort, reputation, or recognition. higher to walk on my own with me, than to run with many and to destroy. For the course I lead you on may be hard, but it ends in existence. And subsequently, my beloved, realize this when you heed my caution, when you align your steps with my instruction. You now not only shield yourself, you open the door for others to be saved. Your obedience turns into a masking on your household. Your listening turns into a light for those nonetheless in darkness. Your faith will become the bridge by way of which others may additionally cross into protection. So when you pay attention my voice, do not hearten your coronary heart. When I call, do no longer disguise. When I convict, do no longer face up to. Respond unexpectedly, obey fully, trust absolutely. For I'm no longer a person that I need to lie. I do now not communicate without motive. Every phrase I talk is fact, and every caution I supply is mercy. My infant, I like you. My desire isn't to break, however to supply. My coronary heart isn't for wrath, however for redemption, but the gate is slim. The manner is holy, and simplest individuals who concentrate, who watch, who yield will input into the fullness I've prepared. I am talking even now. Are you able to hear me? Then comply with. Now,